Well, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Amy Mangus. I am the Assistant Director to the Admissions Office, and we are so excited that you have taken the opportunity to share your Thursday evening with us here tonight. We have a special guest with us, again, Assistant of the Admissions Department. But the big main highlight for this evening is student life and to learn about disability services that we have here on the Newark campus for Ohio State. And we have Tyler on the line. We are so excited for Tyler to be here. I'm going to go off camera and go off mic, and we're going to let Tyler take over.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Amy. Hi, everyone. Very nice to be here today. My name is Tyler Gominski. I work here at Ohio State-Newark in Student Life Disability Services. Basically, what I do is I help provide students with accommodations and resources for them to be successful. We'll break down a little bit of what disability services is, how it's different from high school and college, what types of resources and support you can expect, and just what the general process is with accommodations. Without further ado, we can get started. So there's a lot of differences between college and high school. So a lot of the main differences are fundamental. So in high school, you call your lecturers teachers, and in college, we call them professors. So that's one of the big differences. But other than that, there's also the class sizes are a lot different. So in college, it may be up to 30 people. It could be large lectures of maybe even more than that, or it could be a little bit less, but around 20 to 25 students per class. And it's also at different times per day. So in high school, you'll have your math class, let's say third period every day. So Monday through Friday, you're going to have math class every single day. College, you might have math Monday, Wednesday for about an hour and a half, or you might have a 3-hour block of math class. So it's up to you to figure out and navigate the differences between high school and college, and to learn about those many different resources and ways that they're different between them. Another way that it's different is that classes are usually, intervention specialists help with homework and test proctoring in high school. So you have individualized help that is helping you with your classes, with your assignments. A lot of times in college, the professors are going to give you your assignments, and they're going to expect that with the information that they've given you in class, that you'll be able to work on them and to figure that out for yourselves. But there are resources available to you. There's tutoring services, there's tutoring centers, testing centers, there's writing studios, there's one-on-one supports with your professors. So those are all very big differences between high school and college. And then finally, one of the big differences is accommodations, and that's where disability services can come in. So one of the biggest differences between high school accommodations and college accommodations is that high school, you might have an IEP plan or a 504 plan. So those are specific plans for students to help them throughout their high school career. In college, that'll look a little bit different. So we actually don't use the IEPs or 504s. We actually have accommodation letters. And how you get accommodations is by sitting down with me. I review your disability documentation. We talk through of what resources you may need, and then we'll put accommodations in place for you there. So all accommodations are individualized, and they're based on what you need the most. So if we go to the next slide, we can see a little bit more. Oh, back one more. One right here. There we go. So right here, we can see different types of disabilities that we work with in disability services. So we break disabilities down into 4 different brackets. So we have mental health disabilities, which is like depression, anxiety, ADHD, stuff like that. We have learning disabilities, which is where students learn differently than others and have a little bit more time processing some things. So maybe they have a harder time processing reading or writing, or maybe they have dyslexia, where some words get jumbled up. So that's where we come in. We can help provide supports for those students as well. There's also students that we work with medical disabilities. So this could be anything ranging from asthma to cancer. So we work with a lot of students that have diabetes, that have Crohn's disease, that have migraines, that that temporarily, or I'm sorry, that prevent them from performing classroom duties than uh, that are typically expected of students. So what we do in display services is we work with these students based on their needs, and we connect them to appropriate academic accommodations that can help them with what their current situation is. We also work with temporary situations as well, temporary conditions. So we work with students that may have had a concussion. Maybe you played in one of our intramurals that we have on campus. You're going in for a big touchdown, and then one thing led to another, and then boom, you ran into somebody and you both got a concussion. So we can work with you if that happens. Temporarily, maybe there was an accident where you fell and you broke a bone, or maybe there's surgery that happens. We can work with you with whatever your situation is, and to get you the proper supports that you need. So that can all be done through our office. And how to record, or how to yes, thank you. How to apply to our office. Um, Everybody has to fill out a display services application, so that you can find that online on our display services website on Ohio State Newark. So everybody has to fill out that application and also submit disability documentation. So that disability documentation can be what your 504 or IEP was in high school. So you can just feel free to send that right over to me. Or it could be maybe a doctor's note, a note from a mental health specialist. Um, so those are also acceptable forms of documentation of them stating your disability. We also accept my chart, screenshots, and also prior histories of accommodations at other colleges. So we review the documentation. It goes straight to me. I review it. I look it over. I see what your disabilities are, and I see how it impacts you. I reach back out to you to schedule a meeting between us. It's called a welcome meeting. At that welcome meeting, we'll talk one-on-one on what supports that you may need, how your disability impacts you, and then after that meeting, at the end of that meeting, your academic accommodations will be put in place. So on the next slide, we can talk a little bit more of the different accommodations that we put in place for students. So this is just a broad general list of the accommodations that we can put in place for students. So just because all these accommodations are listed does not mean that when you're registered in disability services, you're receiving all of these. I work with students one-on-one, and like I said, I see and evaluate what their needs are and what will be most equitable to put in place for them. So a lot of times, students, the most popular or most common accommodation is extended time on exams. So maybe that's 50% extended time, or maybe double time on exams, and also a distraction-reduced testing space where they can take their exams in a quiet area so they can focus a little bit more. They don't have to feel anxious about anybody else in the room. Those are the two most common exam accommodations. We also have note-taking assistance, where we have an instructor notes that can be sent to you before class starts, so you know what to look out for in class. And you can also write alongside of those notes. We also have apps and devices that can help you record lectures, so you can listen to that later and help you use that for note taking. And we also have volunteer note takers available as well as an accommodation. We have assistive technology, text-to-speech software that can read your text on the screen out loud to you. And we also have accessible media where we can have your textbooks turned electronically for you in case you prefer that mode of learning instead. One of the biggest accommodations as well that we have is the attendance deadline flexibility. So that means a flexibility on assignments and exams and projects, stuff like that. So this is given out to students that have disability that prevents them from functioning in a classroom on a daily basis, and that may prohibit them from coming into class, or prohibits them from doing daily activities. So this accommodation is given to students with those types of conditions, and it's there to help students get a little bit more time to complete their assignments, and to make sure that they're even though that they may not be present in the class, that they're still getting the supports that they need when they do miss. So with all of these accommodations, the big thing to note as well is that us in display services, we are the ones that if there's ever anything that you're struggling with, we're the one-stop shop that you reach out to for your first resource. You tell me what's going on. you tell me the situation. There's either more accommodations I can put in place for you, or there's another campus resource I can refer you out to. So I'm like the first stop shop for anybody that is going through anything, whether they're not doing as well as they think they should be doing, that they're missing classes for a little bit, whatever the situation may be. I'm that person where that's the biggest support that we can provide at Ohio State Newark, is just the one-on-one connection and how personal we are with our students. So on the next slide, we can see what the common challenges and barriers are there that there are with students with disabilities. So we can see in that picture that on the left, that's equality, and on the right, that's equity. So on the left, we give everybody the same box, but you can see my little buddy in the wheelchair there. He can't see the game, what's going on. So what we like to emphasize is equitable service to our students. So we individualize our accommodation plan for our students. We work with them one-on-one to see what the best plan is for that student to be successful in their classes. Just because a student has XYZ disability does not mean that they get XYZ accommodation. It's all individualized based upon what the need is of that student. So just a little bit more of the common challenges and barriers on the next slide. So here's a large list of the common challenges and barriers that students face. Some of them that I've already harped on, but some of the big things is like choosing a major, maybe the first time being by yourself, so figuring out how to navigate things on your own, figure out your schedule, maybe you have trouble reaching out to people or getting connected. So those are all really big challenges of students with disabilities. But one of the biggest things that I've noticed is self-advocacy. And a lot of times at the Newark campus, that we are relying on students to self-advocate for themselves. At college, it's a place where you're not used to not having professors maybe or teachers push you along and say, hey, are you getting your assignments done? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? At college, you might not have that. So it's important for you to self-advocate for yourself. Let people know what you need. Let your professors know where you're struggling, what's going on. And that's where we can come in. We can help navigate through that. I would suggest reaching out to us earlier before classes start rather than when you're already in classes, so you already have the supports that can be provided by our office. So yeah, we can help reach out to professors for students. We can help walk them through how to go about certain situations. So that's where disability services can really hone in and help retain students as that personal connection. On the next slide, we can see a little bit of the offices that we work with. Like I said, anything that a student struggles with, their first stop should be our office, because we work with so many different offices. We can connect a student flawlessly between them. So these are all the offices that we typically work with. So we commonly send referrals out to counseling services, career development. Maybe a student just wants to be connected, so there's recreation, there's student involvement, like activity center. So just a general example of all the offices that we can help refer you to. And on the next slide as well are campus departments that we help refer you to as well. One of the biggest ones is faculty. So faculty members, and I can't stress this enough, they want what's best for their students. And a lot of times students think that, oh, it's my professor, like I'm nervous about talking with them. And that's completely understandable to feel that way. And that's where we can come in. We can help reach out to your professor for you. But I will say that professors love it when their students reach out to them and communicate. So never feel afraid to reach out to your professor and to tell them how you're feeling, or let them know of what's been going on, because the more that they're able to know, the better they are in understanding and to help you. So along with faculty, we also work with admissions, like Amy and Kelsey here. We work with the academic advisors to help you schedule your classes. And the other biggest offices that we work with is the tutoring center, where we can refer students out who may be struggling with their classes with specific material, and also the testing center to get the students the accommodations that they need while they're in the testing center testing. So yeah, that's a broad overview of all the offices that we work with. And on the next slide, we can see just how important SLDS is for students. So The main thing to note is disability can happen at any point in one's life. So just because, let's say you may not have any conditions right now, um, you never know what's going to happen for the future. I know disability services helped me out a lot in college when I didn't think that it was applicable for me, but it was there for me when I needed certain things. And it definitely, all of these points right here, they definitely harped on in my experience. It leveled the playing field. It helped me get resources that I didn't know about and also wasn't aware that I could access myself. And also, it provided me another resource and just another personal connection that I was able to have. I was able to meet other students while in disability services that had similar experiences, situations as I did, and it's just another way to get connected on campus and get connected with your peers as well. We love to see our students on campus, and we love to see our students stay on campus. So getting connected with our office definitely helps with retaining in school as well. And everything that you share with me or Stephanie Rowland, the manager of disability services, anything that you share with either one of us, it's completely confidential. We don't disclose anything to anybody. We do not disclose your disability to any of your professors. Um, it's just completely between us at that meeting. Um, so that's about it for display services. Just generally, just one more thing that I'll say of how it's different between high school and college. When you first meet with me and get your accommodations, instead of getting maybe your 504 or IEP plan, you get a list of your accommodations and you send those to your professors. So every semester you send your accommodations to your professors and they receive them and they know what accommodations you're receiving. It'll never disclose what your disability is, but your professors do know that your student in disability services receiving XYZ accommodations. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much the gist of disability services and what I do in my office. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'd be more than happy to answer anything that you may have. And also, if you don't feel like or you're not comfortable with sharing anything, typing anything out, feel free to write my email down or our phone number. Feel free to shoot us an email, give us a call. We'd be more than happy to help you with anything that you may need.
Thank you, Tyler, for that. I have a question that somebody might be thinking because most of our students will only spend maybe a year, maybe two with us. How does the transition once they leave the Newark campus to go to the Columbus campus? How is that transition?
Yeah, great question. So what the accommodations that you receive at the Newark campus, they can automatically transfer to the Columbus campus. So your accommodations, wherever you're at Ohio State, they are set in stone. So every single semester, you are getting those accommodations. So at the Newark campus, if you're getting XYZ accommodation your first two semesters, and then you decide to transfer to the Columbus campus, you would be then getting those same accommodations. The only difference is you would not be working with me at the Columbus campus. Unfortunately, I'd have to hand you over to a Columbus campus display services representative, but that would be the only difference. You would be receiving the same exact supports.
Thank you, Tyler. That's so nice to know that just how we talk to our students about how easy their academic experience will transition when they're ready to leave the Newark campus, that it will be just like that with your office as well. I'm going to continue to talk about some admissions things as families think about things to put into the chat, but there will be a time a little bit later on that we will double check to see and make sure all of our questions are answered. So while we're thinking about those, if you need a picture of the slide, this is a great way to get in touch with both Tyler or Stephanie from their office, and their phone numbers on it. So we'll give you just a moment if you want to take a picture of that, and then we will continue to move along. And if we go too fast and you need somebody's contact information, feel free to put that in the chat as well. We're happy to give that out, or you can call our office and we will help you as well. So our next thing. So just some enrollment items to take care of for tonight for families. We want to remind you that I talked about this briefly, but I did not give you the specifics, that students can begin at Ohio State Newark and transition to the Columbus campus. And what happens is you will complete 30 credit hours here on campus after high school graduation. So if you are a student and you have been working on CCP classes, that is fantastic. We will look at that for orientation, but you're still going to have to spend those 30 credit hours after high school graduation. And most of the time, students do that in 2 semesters here at the Newark campus, and you want that established GPA of a minimum of a 2.0 grade point average. Now, of course, we know that depending on your major, that 2.0 might not be the right GPA for you, but that is just for you to transition to the Columbus campus to be able to take classes there. And of course, you have the same degree, it's the same diploma, and it will say from the Ohio State University on there. There is no start of whether, or no mention of whether you started at Newark or Columbus. It does not matter. That degree does say the Ohio State University. And then some deadlines. April 1st was the deadline for learning communities. The last thing I heard was there still is room. So if you're interested in a learning community, you still absolutely have that opportunity to apply. April 15th, very close. If you're thinking about honors, that program deadline. April 19th is our Ohio Means Science STEM Scholarship Program. Again, as I go through these, if you're not sure what they are or if any of them are of interest to you, this is something that your admissions counselor in our office can help you with. And then April 24th, it's for the housing application. We talk a lot about if you're in by April 15th and you have that paperwork in, that will be fantastic to make sure everything's in. There is a little bit of time before they receive, before you put that deposit down. So we want to make sure, but April 24th is absolutely the last day for you to have that paperwork in. May 15th is our national reply date. And then I know this is out of order because I wanted to be able to have the opportunity to highlight it. April 15th, for students who have committed, they've paid that $100 acceptance fee, will have the email sent to their Buckeye Mail account for placement testing and register. To register for orientation. So we are super excited about that. And again, if you need your admissions counselor to walk you through that email when you receive it, they will slowly be released. So not everybody will get them April 15th. If it might be the 16th, 17th, and so on. So do not panic, but that is when they will come out. An upcoming event. If you have not had the opportunity to come to campus, we would love to have you on campus on Saturday, April 20th for our last Buckeye Visit Day of the season. Now, if you have already applied and you have been admitted and you've accepted your position here on campus, this is not the best event for you. You're still welcome to come, but usually our Buckeye Visit Days are a chance to learn about campus as well as how to apply. But we're happy to help you any way that we can on Saturday, April 20th. And then next week, April 18th, we will have a parent session. So just an opportunity to ask questions. We will be here to answer them, and we are planning on having a special guest to help us with that as well. And then here are some important links. This might be a great one to take a picture of if you're interested. If you're still in the applicant pile, you need to apply. We definitely have a link for you. Admitted students, there's some information for you. And then parents, we have a area for you as well. And then that very last one, if you're looking at that Buckeye Visit Day, that's how you would register at our visits page. And then as we start to wrap up, I know that there are some questions in the chat, but if you have more questions or you need help, something's not clear, here is our office phone number for the admissions office and our email. Either way, we have people here 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We are happy to help you, whether you call in or you email us, and we do our best to get back to you within 24 hours. if not faster than that. So I'm going to give you one more shout out for social media. We have a great Instagram page. Kelsey, who is actually helping us in working the chat, she takes care of our Instagram, and we are so thankful for that. And there's some great things on there. So go find that. And that is my contact if you need me. So I'm going to throw it over to Kelsey to see if there are any questions that we should answer for our families.
Hi, Amy. We just have one question in the chat, kind of going back to some of those deadlines that you had mentioned with the admissions process. Could you just briefly talk about what exactly a learning community is?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have different learning communities here on campus, and a learning community, it might be a major specific. So like we have one for education majors and we have one for engineering majors, but then we have some groups of people with like minds. So maybe there's a first generation, meaning that neither one of the parents, that you live with have graduated college. So that would be like a first generation. We have students who are interested in global issues, and they get together. They have classes together. Not all of them. They might have a class, maybe two, and it's not anything extra that they have to do. It fulfills requirements for their degrees, and it's just a great opportunity to meet students from day one. You're usually paired with a faculty member, so it's you have a mentor, and it's just a way to support each other.
Thank you so much. It looks like we have another question coming through. So it looks like this question is regarding their Buckeye Mail, which is their Ohio State student email. They are just wondering like why if they're having trouble logging in, where they can kind of get assistance for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the best place that I would start is feel free to call into our office. There might be something that you're not quite doing. Just remembering that your login for your username is going to be your last name dot number at buckeyemail.osu.edu. And so a lot of times we just say, hey, what's your last name dot number, last name dot number? But that is one case where you're going to need the last name dot number at buckeyemail.osu.edu. So try that. And if that still doesn't work, feel free to call our office. I have that up on the screen, and 740-366-9344, and we can try to walk you through it one more time. And if worse comes to worse, then we will have to refer you to IT, but they are a great department that will take care of your needs.
Thank you so much. Those were our only questions in the chat.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody who's had the opportunity to come tonight and to learn a little bit more. Again, if you get off of this call and you think about something and you're like, oh, I wish you should have asked, feel free to call us or email, and we are happy to put you in touch with Tyler and his office. Or if it's another office that can help, we will pass you to them as well to meet your needs. So I thank you for tonight, and we will stay just for a moment in the chat to see if anything else, if Kelsey needs to answer anything, but you are free to go. We thank you so much for spending your Thursday evening here with us.